So this is getting you prepared for university level writing, level of critical thinking skills. This is the goal for this course. We're going to be going through the idea of looking at how stories are created, how people tell their experiences, and how we should both understand that people create stories through their personal experiences, and also the idea of learning about people through those experiences, right? So we're going to learn about how sometimes your personal experiences might make you biased, but at the same time, it's important to learn about people's personal experiences because they provide information about what goes on in the world, a different viewpoint. Okay, so you'll see this on Blackbot. Basically, the 3 books you're going to be looking at is we're going to read Streetcar Named Desire, a book. It's a nonfiction book called They Say This Will Be Fun by Eternity Mars, and we're going to be reading Hamlet. Okay, all 3 books are going to be dealing with different types of perceptions. Streetcar Named Desire is going to be a play about a woman who, in the 1950s, is moving with her sister and goes through and sort of perceives the world in a very specific way, and how she has to deal with the reality of the situation. They Said This Would Be Fun is a book, nonfiction book by a writer named Eternity Mardis, and she talks about her experiences at Western University as a Black woman and what she experiences having to go through both anti-Black racism, microaggressions, dating, her own self-identity. She's Black, but she's also, her parents are Pakistani, so she deals with how she identifies herself. So that's a good book about her personal experiences and how it evolved her. And we also look at Hamlet as our Shakespeare for the course. Okay, so we've got those are the core things we're going to be looking at this year. The first thing we're looking at is called Everyone Has a Story. So Joe, I'm going to turn the camera this way just so you can see. Hopefully you can still see this. So Joe, you can't see this, but you can probably hear me because I got my microphone on. And what you can do is we're looking at 3 major things. So we're looking at Streetcar Named Desire. And when we look at that play, we're going to be looking at how all authors have a message or a viewpoint they want to convey. So when you're reading a book, an author wants to tell you a story, there's a viewpoint they're trying to convey. Next, the lives of authors have an impact on the author's message. People write books based on their experiences, right? So the books they write about, usually the characters, even if they're fictional, are about their lived experiences. Next, stories have many messages, both hidden and obvious. There are things that are very, very obvious, messages that are straightforward and direct, and there are also messages that are hidden for you to interpret. And then messages also in stories impact what we believe. So the idea is that a message and a story has an impact on what we believe, how we see things. So for those last 2 things, I want to talk about 2 specific points I wanted to make. So for the first one, hidden and obvious messages. When we're looking at books, whether they're fiction or nonfiction, there's a direct message we're supposed to get, and there's a hidden message that's interpreted. If I've touched before, I always use the example of Shrek, right? That Shrek, there are 2 messages in Shrek. What's the first obvious message? Does anyone know what the first sort of direct message of Shrek? Has anyone ever seen the movie Shrek? What's the first message of Shrek? Do I know? Anyone seen Shrek? Okay. Shrek about the ogre and the princess and that. Okay, so what's the first obvious message? Doesn't matter who you are on the outside. It's the inside that matters, right? Because at the end, the Shrek and the princess, they fall in love, right? Even when she becomes an ogre, because she was there, doesn't matter how she is on the outside, it's the inside that matters. That's the obvious message. The hidden message that you probably don't want to convey is another one. The hidden message is stick to your own kind. You're thinking, what? Why does the princess have to become an ogre? Why couldn't the ogre and the princess be together? Why couldn't he become a prince and she become an ogre? Why couldn't they be together? Why does she have to change into, why do they have to physically look like each other in order for them to be in love or to get married? Okay, so that's a very interesting message that's hidden. It's probably not something that is conveyed, but someone may pick up on the fact that, hey, why do they have to look like each other if they truly are in love? Okay, so that's an idea of hidden and obvious messages. The other one point I want to talk about is the messages in series impact what we believe, right? Think about how we view the world and how those viewpoints come from our media, from our stories. Okay? The thing I've always also said, and I've talked about this, is when people talk about police interactions with civilians and violence, and someone always says, no matter how bad it gets, you know, if the officer just pulled his gun, he could shoot him in his leg or his arm, and the guy would get away, he'd be alive. Is that true? Do I know? Is that true for anybody? Is that true if I shoot? Is it? Oh, can you hear me? Is that true? Can you hear? Am I better? Okay. So is it true that you can shoot on could someone shoot somebody with their gun in the shoulder and leg and just stun them instead of killing them? Is that true? Yeah. I would say no. Couple of things. Biology. What runs through here and here and here that keeps me right? If they get severed, what happens to me? Yeah, I'm dead in seconds. Right? Also, what are guns designed for? Right. Guns aren't designed to stun people. If I pull out a gun, I'm going to kill you. Or I'm going to let you know that this is a gun. You do anything I don't like, I'm going to kill you. Well, that's a threat. But think about in our media, what do we always see? Cops running around with guns, firing them into crowds, shooting people with guns, shooting guns out of people's hands. That's not realistic, but we learned that because we watch our media. So therefore, when we see police officers shoot people, we either think they could have shot them in the leg, or, hey, it's not a big deal. They had to do it. Or your gun should be the last thing you possibly do. Right? But we've been believed in stories and messages that have told us this is normal. It's okay. It's perfectly rational for us to do this as a society. So those are things we're trying to deconstruct and look at when we look at our media, we look at our stories, to understand that there are messages and they impact what we believe, right? I was watching, what's his name? Trevor Noah. I was talking about the recent rise of police brutality and anti-black racism within the police department. And he talked a little bit about the fact that we tend to want our police officers to be rogue, tough, don't follow the rules. And it's based upon our television shows. And we see this over and over again. And then we get shocked when we see officers do that in real life. Because the reality is, I don't want a police officer who's going to break the rules to catch somebody, because people get hurt. People end up dead. They could make a mistake. But our favorite police shows or police dramas is always a cop that pushes the edge but doesn't ever cross it. And that's something that's conveyed to us in media. So these are the important things we're talking about when we think about those things. Sorry, Joe, I just appeared on the screen there for you. These are the things that we talk about when we're looking at messages in film. Okay? All right. I've spoken a little bit. Does anyone else have any questions about what we're talking about? The time here. 10:23. Okay. Yes. Sure. So if you want to take a picture of those notes over there, of that thing, you can if you want to. And Joe, this is attached to the My Willow page. So if you look for it, it's there on the unit that talks about our first unit, which is Everyone Has a Story. So you don't have to take any pictures, Joe. You have a copy of it. Also, if you don't want to take a picture, it's on the My Willow page. A lot of information I'm giving out, guys, notes and stuff, I'm going to throw up as attachments to work or messages. I'm going to go paperless this year, or I went paperless last year, and I went paperless during, of course, the pandemic when we're all at home. So I wanted to just illustrate the fact that assignments, rough drafts, work will always be sent to me as an email or as a thing. I'll edit it, give it back to you through your computer. So you don't have to print anything, but you have to submit stuff on Blackboard, which we'll talk about how to do that. Just so we cut that on paper, not just for the pandemic, but because why use paper if we don't have to? Yes.
Do we get feedback in class or just by email?
So I'll probably do both. So what will probably happen is if you submit something to me like a rough draft or outline, I'll look at it. I'll break down I'll make notes, send that back to you, then I'll say, hey, you want to have a discussion about it. So how we'll do it is maybe you'll come a little closer to me. Maybe we'll do it through Zoom in class. I got to sort of figure that out. But we can do it that way. Also, if you guys wanted to have more one-on-one support or Homework Hub now is done in the mornings from about 9 to 9:45. So you have to you have to email me and book an appointment. So if Luke goes, well, I want to meet with you tomorrow during Homework Hub, he says fine, and then we do it that way. Okay? So you send me, and I confirm, yes, meet me here at this time, and then we can have a one-on-one conversation. Because we can't have Homework Hub at the end of the day, we do it before classes. Okay? Joe, you can also just same thing with me. If you want to have Homework Hub with me, you can send me a message. Sometimes, Joe, what I'll do is I will maybe contact you, or as let's say the class is working on something, I'll have maybe a conference with you on Zoom this way. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, so we've done all that. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so I'm moving pretty quickly because what I want to do today was talk about more about this unit. And I wanted to also start by showing you the first part of a movie that's going to be part of our first assignment. It's going to look at the concept of everyone has a story. Now, I thought they had a marker in here, so I'm going to test something in the office today. Because all right. Aha, see, I can't go to the office, so I have to call someone who will go get me a marker from the office. This is all very weird, but it's new. So because if I go in, right, the idea is that we want to kind of minimize cross thing, and if a bunch of people go in, then have us to go get from our desk to get it. That's why they want to do it this way. Now, maybe these protocols, we loosen them a bit as we get on, or maybe we think it's too much, but right now, everyone's taking the more safe approach and then seeing how they respond. Think of it like, you know how we're all in stage 1 in March, and now we're in stage 3? Yeah. Technically, think about Littlewood right now as sort of like a mini stage 1. We're all doing things way more cautiously because we want to make sure we're fine. If we find that, hey, it doesn't work, or hey, we're still safe, or hey, we're allowed to do more because of feedback or evidence from sources, then we will do more. But if we say we have to be even more cautious, we'll be more cautious. So right now we're doing the very, very bare minimum or minimal contact, making sure we know everyone's safe because it's the first time, right? We're all going to experience this stuff. Again, very weird, North America and Taiwan, they have classes all the time, right? Because they had prepared for pandemic before this, right? So it was masking and shields and stuff, but they never stopped having school, right? South Korea, I think, kind of didn't really stop having school. I mean, they had it, but it was, again, because they prepared. We, North America, tend not to think more than 10 feet in front of us. So we didn't really prepare. So now we're trying to catch up, right? Okay, so I'm going to call the office and try this experiment. Hold on. Who do I call? What do I call my office? Hi, Heather. Hi, can someone send a whiteboard marker to A6? Thank you. I'm going to stop this recording for now because I think I don't have anything else to talk about, but then we'll keep on. I'll keep on moving forward.